Hello and welcome to my reading log for October. I read 29 volumes this month, which is the exact same as what I read in September. And despite it being October, I didn't read that much horror manga. I did read a few. I read 4 or 5, and then a couple more that kind of fit the October theme. But yeah, I didn't have an abundance of horror to be able to read in the month, but I did read the ones that I had. But I want to read them close to the end of the month. It was closer to Halloween. So anyway, let's get on with what I read in October. The first one being what I read on the 1st of the month was Hatsuko Night Volume 2. I gave this 4 stars. This is one of a spin-off volume. Volume 1 followed a different couple. This one's Rubsbuster. So this character was in Volume 1, but this character wasn't. So he went to middle school with the blonde guy from the first volume, and he had a crush on him in middle school, but obviously he's met up with him at a reunion, I think, or was it at an open day at the college where he's gone to see it or something like that, and they met up, and he realised that his crush is now in a relationship with someone else, so he kind of gets his heart broken, and then this guy who's friends with the other couple is like, don't try and get between them. I know you used to like him, but just move on. And he's like, well, I wasn't planning to anyway. And then these two kind of start growing closer, and he gets into a bit of trouble, and he ends up staying overnight at his place, and things go from there. Yeah, it was very good. It was super cute. It is mature, but there's not too much of it's steaminess to it. There isn't the last couple chapters, but yeah, it's very sweet. I really like this one. I really like Volume 1 as well. I like both couples, and obviously I like the art for this series too. I think it's nice. Yeah, this one was a good one to start off the month. It was very good. Next, on the 2nd, I gave this one 3.5 stars. I read Glasses with a Chance of Delinquent Volume 2. This one's super cute. It's a high school romance between a girl and a guy who's supposed to be an ex-delinquent, but he still kind of acts like a delinquent. He wants to turn over a new leaf and become more studious and stuff, but he still has delinquent tendencies, and she dislikes delinquents, and they ended up getting into a relationship in the first volume. So now they're a couple, and yeah, it was cute. They just yep, I don't really have that much more to say about it. I enjoyed it, and it was cute. But yeah, if you want a high school romance with a lot of fluff, then I would recommend this one. Next is another high school romance that has quite a bit of fluff, and that is Butterfly 10. This one I gave 3.5 stars as well. This one has a bit more drama than what Dresses with a Chance of Delinquent does. This volume, again, I enjoyed it. The series is coming to an end in 2 more volumes. This one, we had some more cute moments, and then we had some issues with Kawatsumi and the guy he's rivals with in karate. I can't remember his name. I'm very bad with names, but yeah, they had some friction going on between them for reasons I won't say because of spoilers. But yeah, it's wrapping up in 2 more volumes. I'm probably gonna pick both of them up next time I do a order, and then it'll be finished. Yeah, I have enjoyed the series. It's been cute, and it's been got a bit of drama in there too. Next on the 3rd, I read Like a Put Fire and Glass with a Chance of Doing them both on the 2nd. I read those on the same day. On the 3rd, I read 2 on the 3rd as well, actually. I was doing good at the start of the month. So on the third, I read A Reincarnated Witch Spells Doom 6. This one I gave 3.5 as well. I do really enjoy this series. I do like the plot and the characters. This volume I gave half a star less because it felt a bit more rushed. This one ends the water dragon plot line, and just it felt like it concluded a bit too soon. And then we're moving on to like Keith is like training with the wind dragon in order to be more worthy of being her caller. So yeah, I still really enjoy this volume. It just felt a bit fast paced when it came to like finishing the storyline. I don't think this is based off a light novel, but it might be. So maybe the light novel has like a bit better pacing. Anyway, I still really enjoyed the one. It's an isekai with a girl that gets reincarnated into a fantasy world as like, well, it's called a reincarnated witch, but everyone in this world has powers, so she's not really a witch. Which her powers are different to everyone else's because she has powers of explosion and like I've forgotten the other power. She can like perish. She has explosion, she has perish. And no one else really has those powers, so she's kind of feared and she's isolated. And then the Prince Keith turns up and kind of she nurses him back to health when he collapses outside the door. And he takes her away to see the country, basically. And she finds out that she has power. She's a caller and she can like control dragons. It is very good. I said this volume was just a little bit more on the fast-paced side. And also on the third, I read My Girlfriend's Child 8. This one I gave 4.5 stars. It's very good. I really enjoy My Girlfriend's Child. I tend to enjoy series that have a lot of drama for some reason. It kind of just keeps things interesting. I don't like drama when it involves love triangles. I just find love triangles annoying, especially when they're just put in there for the sake of drama and there's no like real point to them. But like other types of drama, like the type of drama that this series has, I really enjoy. But yeah, this volume, obviously she's getting quite far along into the pregnancy now. This is volume 8, we only have one volume left, and then volume 10 is the side stories. So obviously you can see by the cover she's getting quite, I think she's like 9 months along now, so she is getting close to giving birth. So this volume did focus a lot on the process of childbirth and what goes into it and what can happen and complications and stuff that can go wrong. And it had like, because they go to like a parenting class, and it had like all these pages on information all about labour and labour progression, and then it had like some about cesareans and stuff as well. So that had these pages that was basically just information. Yeah, it was another good volume. And I really enjoy this series, and I'm looking forward to seeing the conclusion and the baby in the next volume. Well, I assume she's going to have the baby in the next volume. It would be the obvious way to finish the series. But yeah, I really enjoy this one. It's a really good drama. And next, on the 4th, yeah, I read Sakura Taku 6. This one gave 4 stars. I like that this volume focused a bit more on Sakura and Taku instead of focusing on this guy, who is like being added in to be like a second male lead to create a love triangle, and I'm really not keen on him. But I like this volume had more of a focus on Sakura and Taku than it did on him, although he did get some time at the end. So yeah, I think this is 9 volumes on, so like another 3, I think. And her Io Saka's new manga, I've forgotten what it's called, has recently been licensed in English, so I'll probably be picking that one up as well. I do generally enjoy Io Sakisaka's series. I'm just not always keen on her love triangles. But yeah, I do enjoy this one. Next, on the 5th and the 6th, I read Don't Call It Mystery 13 and 14. I gave both volumes of the entire omnibus 5 stars. I love Don't Call It Mystery, it's one of my favourites. This one wrapped up the mystery with that was started in the previous volume, which kind of focused on the detective, the woman detective from the beginning. She is kind of like one of the main focuses in that particular mystery, because it's to do with something that happened in her hometown with someone she used to know. So yeah, that it wrapped up that one at the end of volume 13. And in volume 14 we have some shorter cases. One of them involves the other detective from the beginning, and him and his wife are trapped in a tunnel, and there's like possibly a murder in there with them, and he's trying to figure out who it might be. That one I think was 2 chapters. And then we had like an interlude chapter, and then the last chapter of 14 was the start of a new mystery. So that chapter is kind of setting up that mystery, which is going to be about something that happened at Totino's college, like years ago, before Totino was a student there. I think it was like 20 odd years ago or something like that. And that mystery seems like it's going to be another very interesting one. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes in the next omnibus, which I don't know when we're getting, because I think volume 15's out in Japan, but I don't think 16 is, so it's probably going to be a while before we get it, because we have to wait for 16 to come out. And then the one after that will be an even longer wait, because we have to wait for both 17 and 18 to come out. Because I think volume 15 did just come out not that long ago. So I think it's just 16 we have to wait for. But yeah, really love this series, and I really hope it's not too long of a wait for the next one. But yeah, it's great. If you like mystery and interesting like character study and stuff like that, give this one a go. I really like Totino. He like psychoanalyzes people in situations and stuff, and it's always interesting. Next, on the 7th, I read My Noisy Roommate 2. I gave this one 4 stars. This one kind of fits the Halloween theme, because it's like yokai and ghosts. He moves into an apartment with this guy, and it turns out this guy works for his supernatural like real estate agency, where they help ghosts and like yokai relocate from one place to another, because if they're in somewhere where they're like a house where they're causing trouble, they go there to the house and try to convince them to move. And if not, they kind of have to use force. But yeah, ghosts have been attracted to him since he was little, so he draws ghosts in, and he kind of repels them, and they kind of keep away from him. So he needs his help in order to bring the ghosts to him so they can deal with their stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed the second volume. Like, I like the Inescapable House one, and they teamed up with another duo of supernatural real estate agents. Yeah, this is a BL, and obviously the couple they teamed up with were in a relationship. These two aren't in a relationship yet. I think this one is going to be more of a slow burn when it comes to the relationship between the two guys, but I'm perfectly fine with slow burn. So yeah, these are the other two that came in this volume. So I really like this one. I probably like this one more than the first one. It was very good. Definitely continuing it. Next, on the 8th, I read Queen's Quality 21. This one I gave 4.5 stars. This was a very good volume. This volume continues the flashback from the previous volume about Fumi's mother, and what's his name? Yeah, the boy who's telling her the story, Tsubasa, because Tsubasa used to know Fumi's mother when he was little, so he's like recounting his memories of the time he spent with her, so Fumi can like get to know her mother better. So yeah, this entire volume was a flashback of that, and I do believe the flashback does continue into the next volume. I don't think it's the whole of the next volume, I think it's like half of it. But yeah, it was a very interesting flashback. I enjoyed continuing to get to learn more about Fumi's mother, and I'm definitely excited to get the rest, because I think it's only 4 volumes and then it's over, and I really love this series, but yeah, it's ended. Like, this has ended. It's just been announced that Yona's ending on the 20th of December. So many long-running shoujo series that I've been reading since the beginning are coming to an end now. And it's a bit sad, but also I'm glad that they're just not going to go on forever and get, like, lose quality over time like some series do when they're kept going for too long. But yeah, I'm happy that it has an end, but it's also kind of sad that a series that I've been reading for years and years is going to be over. It's kind of more so with Yona, because I've been reading that since volume 1 came out. And I don't know how many years ago now. And it's, I've been reading it for like 43 volumes, and it's going to be like ending. I think 48 is going to be the last one. I've had this volume 1 so long, it's covered in stains. Where is it? 2016. So how long's that? 9 years? I've been reading Yona for 9 years, and next year it'll be been out in English for like 10 years, and that's the year where it'll end, because I think volume 48 will be out in English next year. So yeah, I would be reading Yona for 10 years. And yeah, it's gonna come to an end. I hope it has a good ending. I have heard that the ending is on the author's terms. It hasn't been rushed into an ending or anything. She has chosen to end the series, so that's a good sign that it will have a decent ending, hopefully. Anyway, enough about Yona. I haven't even read Yona this month. I just brought it up because of its ending. Anyway, on the 9th, I read Nina the Story Bride. What volume is this? Why am I looking at the book? Why don't I just look at the volume? Volume 8. I gave this 4 stars. Yeah, this is continuing the storyline from the previous volume, and Set's gone a bit off the rails in this volume, but we'll see how that goes in the next one. He's kind of lost it a bit because of events that transpired. If you watch the anime, the events that transpired at the part where the anime ended. Because the anime ended, I think, volume 6. So yeah, I'm hoping he gets back on track, because I do actually really like him now. He grew on me. I didn't like him at first, but he grew on me over the course of the series, and so I hope he gets back on track. I do still like Azor as well. Like, I don't mind the love triangle on this series because it's not pointless. You generally don't know which one she's gonna pick. And I like both, so I'm not really bothered who she chooses. But yeah, I really like Nina. It's a good fantasy series if you like fantasy. This is a good one. I'm looking forward to reading more. What's next? On the 10th, I read Stay By My Side After the Rain, Volume 3. I think there's one more to this. I think 4's the last one. I gave this 4 stars. This one was very cute. Obviously, in previous volumes, we've already had the complications and stories with his parents, whereas this volume focuses on his parents, who, like, it's his first time meeting his parents, and he's kind of reluctant to go home and introduce his boyfriend to them. Yeah, it was a cute volume. It had some drama, but overall, this series is adorable. I really like this couple. They're very cute. Yeah, it's like they knew each other in high school, and he had a crush on him in high school, but he didn't think he liked him back. And then they re-met up as adults, and they kind of rekindled their friendship, and then started a relationship. And yeah, it's a cute one, and looking forward to reading the last one. I think they all originated as one-shots. I think Volume 1, it was originally one-shot, then it got a second one, then it got a third one, then it got a fourth one. I don't think it was planned to have that many volumes from the start. I just think it was popular, so it kept getting more. Next, on the 11th, I read Mao 19. I gave this one 4 stars as well. This volume focused a lot on the Earth woman. What's her name? Natsuno. This volume focused a lot on Natsuno and her past and who she actually is, and we have some good stuff with Nanaka learning to control her powers as well, which is good. I do continue to enjoy Mao. It's like the most similar to Inuyasha that Rumiko Takahashi has written since Inuyasha. Yeah, it's action shown set in the Taisho era, something like that. It's not as far back as Inuyasha because they do have like cars and stuff in this. It's kind of a similar sort of era to My Happy Marriage. Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoyed this volume, and learning more about Natsuno. She is a rather interesting character. Next, on the 12th, I read Werewolves Going Crazy Over Me 1. I gave this one 3.5 stars. This one kind of suits the Halloween vibe too, because it's werewolves. This is a steamship title, although there wasn't that much going on in terms of steam in this volume. I did quite enjoy the story. So there was like, was there any like full-on sexual encounters in this one? I don't believe there was. I think they just made out. Well, I think they probably will go all the way in later volumes, or else why would this be steamship? Yeah, she has a daughter who has an illness. It never says what illness she has, but says she has a chronic illness, and she has like fits and stuff. So she has to like work. She's a single mother. Her husband died when she was pregnant. So she's a single mother, and she's looking after her chronically ill daughter, and she has to work at this cafe to like earn money for her daughter's medicine. But she can't really afford to like do proper treatment. And on the way home from work, she runs into this guy who is injured and bleeding out in an alley, and she decides to help him, and she ends up taking him back to her place, where he kind of starts. He's a werewolf anyway, and his like werewolf instincts kind of take over, and they start like making out and stuff, and then the neighbour interrupts and he leaves. And then you find out that he's the CEO of a pharmaceutical company, and he's taking this drug to suppress his urges. But when he was around her, he felt that his urges were suppressed without the need for this drug, because this drug is harming him. So now he's having his subordinates look for her, because obviously he wants to find out what about her made it so he could control himself without the drug. And obviously she also kind of reminds him of his ex-girlfriend. So he makes kind of like a deal with her that if she stays with him so he can find out what's causing this, then he will put her daughter into these clinical trials in research of rare diseases. and she agrees. So yeah, I did quite like the story for this one. It did feel a little bit cheesy and like, but I did enjoy it. Nothing wrong with a bit of like a cheesy romance every now and then. But yeah, it is in full colour. It is I think it's an OEL, an original English language webtoon. I don't think it's a manhwa. I do, cause it is set in, I think, America, and obviously the names are Olivia and Damien. So I do think it's an original English language manhwa, not manhwa, webtoon. I don't know. I can't really tell by the author's name because it just says it's by Manta Comics, so it's just the website it was published on. So I actually have no idea who wrote this. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. It wasn't steamy for the steamship line, but as a story in general, I liked it. I didn't read anything on the 13th. I can't remember why. No, no, doesn't matter. On the 14th, I read Wolfgang Black Prince 11. I gave this one 3.5 stars. Happened in this volume? Oh yeah, this one had a chapter where Erica got a fever and Kiryu had to look after her, which is kind of typical of shoujo romances. And there's usually a chapter at some point where one of the two gets sick and the other one has to look after them. It's kind of a trope. It's usually quite a cute trope. I do tend to enjoy those chapters. And then there was... Oh yeah, I remember now. There was an introduction of a childhood friend character who used to go to primary school with Erica, and she's working in a convenience store at part-time and he's also working there. And there's obviously some jealousy going on because he used to have a crush on her when he was a kid, but Erica's like reassuring that he was a little kid at the time. He clearly can't have feelings for me anymore. But we'll I think he probably does, so we'll see how that goes. And there's also another girl character introduced, which is making Erica a bit jealous. So this volume was kind of full of jealousy, and I think that can continue into the next one. There's also a side story at the end called Why I Fell in Love with You, which is just a short one shot, which was kind of cute. It's about a guy who asks this girl out, and she's like, "Why?" Basically, why would you want to go out with me when you're... It's basically that sort of thing. Yeah, I did enjoy this volume. Next, on the 15th, I also didn't read anything. And I also can't remember why. I was probably playing Silk Song. I have finished Silk Song now, so but I think that was kind of the time that I was doing the final boss. So that's probably why, now that I think about it. Anyway, 16th, I read Last Quarter Volume 2. This is the final volume. I get this on 3.5 stars. So yeah, this one is like a supernatural slice of life-ish drama about a girl whose spirit is trapped in this house, and there's 4 children and only one of them can see her, and these 4 children try to help this girl and find out why she's trapped in this house. And she keeps mentioning a guy called Adam. Obviously the first chapter of the series followed her and Adam, so you do kind of know who Adam is. And then this one, the second chapter onward, it switches to the perspective of the young girl and them trying to help her out of this house because they think she's a ghost in this house and they want to find out how to move on. And they think the way to do that is to find Adam. But obviously things don't go as planned. I was expecting the twist in this one with Adam and what happened to him. So that wasn't really a shock to me or anything, but yeah. Overall, I enjoyed the series. I thought it was good. I know I was always just had a new one licensed in English. Well, it's not new, it's one of her older works, but it's new in English. Called I Know Angel or something like that. I don't know if I'll be picking that one up or not. We'll see. Because it is a high school romance, it's not really about fashion like a lot of her series are. And it's not unfinished right now, it is. We'll see if I end up grabbing that one. Next, I ran out of things to read while waiting for my sci-fi order to arrive. So I ended up reading some stuff I have that I haven't finished yet, which I probably should finish, be on my shelf for ages. I'm so good at keeping up with new releases when I buy them, but then see when I buy a full set of something and then it's sent to on the shelf for a bit until I probably get on and finishing it. But anyway, I read Volume 3 of Mars. This is a very, very dramatic series. The amount of drama and situations and kind of dark stuff they can fit into one volume of the series is kind of amazing. But yeah, this volume was a bit less dramatic and dark than volume 2. This one mainly focused on Ray competing in a motorbike race. Now, I know nothing about motorbike racing, so I didn't really understand the rules or like the lingo or anything, but I think this is the only volume that has the big focus on the motorbike racing. I know he is into motorbike racing and that is brought up throughout the series, but I think this is the only one where he's really focused on the racing itself. Well, yeah, I did enjoy the volume, but I just didn't really get what was going on during the races sometimes because I didn't understand like the rules or the lingo they were using and stuff. But I did really like the volume and I am really enjoying the heavy drama that this series has. I know Kodansha has recently this year announced that they're reprinting Mars in 2-in-1 like hardcovers with like foiling on them and everything, and I'm like, I already own the full series in the singles, but I'm tempted. It's also going to have a new translation as well, which is possibly going to be a good thing. So I'm thinking about, because I know Fruits Basket, when that one was re-picked up by Empress, got a new translation, and I think the general consensus is that the translation in the Empress is better than the translation in the Tokyo Bot, from what I've heard people say anyway. So I'm thinking maybe I could pick at least the first one up, just compare the translation and stuff to see which one I like better. And if I prefer the older one, just keep the older ones. But if I prefer the newer one, then maybe continue to collect the newer volumes until I have them all, and then maybe sell the singles once I have all of the omnibuses. Because I don't want to sell the singles whilst I'm still missing omnibuses, because I won't have the full series and I'm obviously in the middle of reading it. But we'll see. I'm definitely probably going to end up picking up the first one at least, just to compare translations. But yeah, it's supposed to be a really nice release too, which is very tempting. But anyway, next. On the 18th and the 19th, I read Daytime Shooting Star 5 and 6. I gave 5 3.5 stars, and I gave 6 4 stars. I like the series a bit more when it concentrates more on him than when it concentrates on him. So he had, Volume 5 had a bigger concentration on the teacher, whereas I forget his name, Nomura, had more, well, not screen time, page time in Volume 6. So I did end up writing Volume 6 more than Volume 5. I do enjoy this series. I do ship Suzume, is her name Suzume? With Nomura rather than the teacher. So that's why I enjoy Volume 6 more, because I had more of a concentration on Nomura. But I do have the entire series. I'm now halfway through. And, yeah, I'm enjoying it. And I will be reading more. It will probably just not be until I run out of things to read again. Because I tend to save Time Shooting Star for when I do run out of volumes, though I still have something I can read whilst I'm waiting for more to arrive. It's kind of like my backup for when I have nothing else to read. But I do enjoy it. And I could read it more often, I just use it as like a backup. Same with Mars at the minute, although I do really enjoy Mars and I would like to read that one a bit quicker. But I'm just too busy reading recent releases to pick up a volume of it, though. And I really should. It is good. Again, maybe I'll just wait for the Kodansha re-release to see if I want to read that version instead. But I've already read the first 3 volumes, so the first omnibus will be stuff I'd already read, so I'd have to wait for like volume 2 to come out. So I might read volume 4 and then wait for the new releases before I read past volume 4, so I'll have like to read the new ones instead. We'll see. I might change my mind. Anyway, on the 20th, Sci-Fi arrived. And I read Fire in His Fingertips 27. I don't think this series will end up with 20 volumes. At least it shouldn't. I don't know what they would do for that length of time. I don't think Hostiles anyway. This one, they were having sex. And then they went on the ski trip for Christmas. I don't really expect there to be much to this series other than sex. I don't read it expecting there to be like a huge plot or anything, because there clearly isn't. But it's still good. It's not my favourite Steam ship, because there's better ones come out since, but I do still enjoy it. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about it, because yeah, it is just sex. On the 21st, I didn't read anything. That wouldn't be to do with Silk Song, though, because I would have finished it by then. And it wouldn't have been to do with Love and Deep Space, because the new banner didn't release until the 29th. It was possibly because I was playing after I finished Silk Song, I started playing Blueprints, so it's possibly because I was playing that. But I can't remember what I did 2 days ago, let alone the 21st. But anyway, on the 22nd, I read some horror, because my sci-fi came and brought my horror to me. I read Moan, The Liminal Zone Volume 2 by Junji Ito. I gave this 4 stars. I really like the stories in this one. I really like the stories in the first volume of The Liminal Zone as well. Like, a lot of the Junji Ito story creations are older stories from like the 90s and some from the 80s as well, I think, whereas The Liminal Zone and The Liminal Zone Volume 2 are from 2022, so they're more of his more recent stories, and I've been really enjoying them. This one contains 4 stories. I really liked 3 of them. I wasn't keen on the Strange Suzuki Siblings chapter 3. I was not keen on the first 2 chapters of them anyway. It's kind of more like a comedy feel at them, and I tend to not like the comedy-ish ones as much, which is why I'm not as keen on the Suichi ones. But I liked The Village of Ether the most. That one was the one with the cover. It was about perpetual motion machines, which obviously are impossible in real life, but this guy in this village found out a way to make them possible, and yeah, that one was really good. It's like 4 college students go to investigate because one of them lived there as a kid. When it comes to Junji Ito, the characters aren't really important. They're kind of just there to experience the horror. They're not really fleshed out or anything. They're just used as a way for the horror to be shown and experienced. Then there's Demon King of Dust was my second favourite. That one was about dust, obviously. And then the Shells of Manjimuna. That was quite interesting. That was very short, but involved turtles. Yeah, a good read for October, this one. And then I read more Junji Ito on the 23rd. I read Moan. I get this one for $3.50. I didn't like the stories in this one quite as much as I did in the Criminal Zone, but they were so good. Let's see what they were. I liked probably Fresh Code Mystery, which used to be called Fresh Code Horror, was a good one. I also liked the Moan, which used to be called The Moaning Drain. And then Blood Orb Grove was a good one. I wasn't as keen on the Supernatural Transfer Student one. Near Miss was like super short, just a few pages. And then Under the Ground was quite an interesting one. That was about the time capsule. But yeah, I'd say that Fresh Code Mystery was probably the best one in here. Yeah, I do enjoy some Junji Ito. And obviously these are older stories from like the 90s. Next, on the 24th and the 25th, I read Guilty Smile for 2 and 3, which finishes the series. Yeah, I'll just use you as a book rest, Rowan. He doesn't mind. If he minded, he would move. I gave these both 3.5 stars. And yeah, this is definitely a bit more steamy than what the werewolf one was. This is also a lot more toxic than what the werewolf one was. Yeah, this is not a particularly healthy relationship. But the relationship between the two of them did get better once he realised she was not her sister, and he stopped torturing her and yeah, started treating her a lot better. But yeah, there's definitely a darker series. It's a fantasy. Whereas there's a kingdom and he was captured by her father, and her sister kind of tormented him and tortured him. But she, as a child, was not meant to be seen because she's a twin, and in this country twins are considered cursed, and one of them is considered a demon born, and they considered to be unlucky, so she was kept hidden and no one knew she existed apart from the servants and her family. So he just thought that the girl had split personalities, and some days he would torture him, and other days she'll be kind to him and bring him food and stuff. Anyway, years later, when they're grown up, he escapes and there's a revolution and he takes over the kingdom. And to get revenge on the sister, he starts torturing her, not realising that he's torturing the other sister who's taken her sister's place whilst the sister's escaped. And obviously he treats her terribly, thinking that she's her sister. But once, at the end of Volume 1, he finds out the truth of who she is, he starts treating her better. But he's also put this curse on her called the Guilty Smile, which means she has to obey everything he says, and eventually the curse will kill her. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Probably not my favourite steamship, but I definitely enjoy it. And it is very dark. If you want a darker, smart series, it's a good one. It has very good art. If I can find a page I can actually show. It's the same artist who did the Lord Hades one. The Hades steamship one, I forgot what it's called. But yeah, it has very good art. Next, on the Gazing at the Star Next Door, I read 26. No, on the 26th I read Gazing at the Star Next Door 5, which I gave 4 stars. I really like this series, and I really like this couple. I like the banter they have with each other, because they are childhood friends. They grew up together, so they've known each other since they were little, and they like to tease and banter with each other, and I think that's cute. And yeah, this volume was cute. And the cinema at home date they had was very Nice chapter. I enjoyed that chapter. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading more of this and seeing how things go. With obviously the complications of him being a up and coming TV star and her being a normal high school girl. Like in Japan, the culture around like idols and TV stars is quite toxic when it comes to the fans and how they behave once they realise that the person they admire and adore is in a relationship with somebody. So yeah, she kind of has to. She realises the difficulties of that and how she has to like not let anyone know and stuff. It's very good. I would recommend it. It's super cute and it has a nice amount of drama. And the drama does not evolve, at least not right now. There is no love triangle. Anyway, next. On the 27th, I read The Demon King is Way Too Overprotective, Volume 1. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't enjoy this at first. It was a bit... It is only 3 volumes long, so it's not a long series. But it's about a demon king who was in love with like a saint, and she died, and obviously she's reincarnated into modern day Japan as this high school student. And he's promised to find her and be with her again. So he's come to the human world and found her, but obviously she has absolutely no memories of her previous life being in a relationship with him. But he obviously remembers being in a relationship with her previous incarnation. But anyway, he ends up moving in with her. And he's kind of overprotective, which is kind of the point, which I was okay with at first because he wasn't being too bad. But then the last chapter happened and he went kind of over the top and said some things that I'm like, yeah, I don't like this guy anymore. So I don't know if I want to continue this one or not. It is only 3 volumes, so I might just read the other 2. I mean, it's not much of an investment, it's short. And he might, like, go back to not behaving in that way in the next 2 volumes. So I don't know whether I want to read the last 2, whether I want to just stop here, but yeah. I enjoyed it enough, just not that last chapter. I probably would have given it half a star more if it wasn't for that last chapter. But yeah, I really don't like the possessive, overly obsessed, possessive type of love interest. That's like my least favourite, and if a series has that type of love interest, it really puts me off. And he was okay at first, he was a bit overprotective, but then the last chapter happened and was like, yeah, no, you're acting too possessive for my liking now. So yeah, I might make myself read the last 2 because it is only 3 volumes. Or I might just drop it here. I haven't decided yet. I probably, if I'm not that fussed about it, I should probably just drop it because I need the space. But we'll see. Anyway, next on the 28th, I read Sunday I'll Fall For You Volume 2. I gave this 3.5 stars. This one was cute. This one, obviously, another childhood friend to Lovers Romance. This one, a BL. Where one of them's had a crush on the other guy since, I think, middle school, and the other guy ends up with getting a girlfriend in high school, so the other guy's has to try and, like, push down his feelings and stuff. But, yeah. I did enjoy this volume, and it was very cute. The only thing is, it was a bit rushed. I know it's only 2 volumes, so there is that, but it just felt like it was jumping around a bit. They were in 1 minute they were at their first years in high school, and then the next chapter their 3rd years and they're about to graduate. Like, what happened to the in between? But yeah, other than that, it was very cute, and I have heard that this series does have a sequel, and the sequel's still ongoing, and I think it's going like 4 volumes or something. So if the sequel does come out in English, I would definitely read it. It's like set in college. So yeah, I did enjoy the couple, and I did enjoy the series enough that I would definitely read the sequel if it came out in English. There's also another sequel which was actually written before this, which is set when they're adults. So the author wrote this one shot first where they're adults and they're looking after a friend's kid, I think. And then obviously she decided to write a prequel to that one shot, which is this, and then a sequel to that prequel, which is this continuation of this. So I do hope we get those ones in English. It would be nice to be able to read them. But yeah, this one was cute. And then 2 more on the 29th. I didn't read anything because that's when the Love and Deep Space update came out and I was playing Cyrus's new card. Because I just gotta get all the Cyruses. Next, on the 30th, I read The Summer Hikaru Died. 5. I gave this one 4 stars. This was another horror that I read. This one is very eldritch, Lovecraftian feeling in the horror, like Cthulhu sort of stuff. Like, I've never actually read a Lovecraftian book, but I have watched and read horror that is inspired by Lovecraft, and this kind of feels like that. I do kind of interested in reading the Gotanabe adaptations of H.P. Lovecraft's works. Because I know they're getting like hardcover releases now and stuff, and I would be interested to maybe give some of those a go, at least maybe the Cthulhu one. But yeah, this is a creepy, small town horror that's also like a BL and a drama. It's set in this small town that has like those creepy small town eerie mystery vibes, and then we have the main characters, Hikaru and Yoshiki. And Hikaru at the start of the series died and is replaced by something other that is not Hikaru but has Hikaru's like memories. And Yoshiki realizes that it's not Hikaru, and then it's about trying to figure out who not Hikaru actually is. And it's also kind of about grief, because obviously he is grieving Hikaru, but he kind of can't properly grieve Hikaru because there's this thing here now that is Hikaru but not, because he has Hikaru's memories, but he's not human and he doesn't really know how to have human emotions. So though he has Hikaru's memories, he doesn't have the emotion that are attached to those memories. So yeah, it's very good, and it is an anime, and I was gonna watch it, but I found out that the dub isn't actually out yet. I thought it was, but it's not. I know it is coming, because the voice actors were announced. I just don't know when it is actually coming out, so I haven't actually watched it yet. But I do want to. It's very good. And we did get, like, some kind of... We got more answers in this one about the history of the town and what's possibly going on. But then we got more questions at the end as well. So, you think it's going one way and then you find out, nope, it's not. And the last thing I read this last month on the 31st was 100 Ghost Stories That Lead to My Own Death, Volume 2. This one I gave 4 stars. This was my Halloween read. It's a short story collection of different horror stories. They're all kind of connected because there's a young boy, he's about 10 years old, and he's told by a girl in his school that if he tells 100 ghost stories one every night, it'll lead to his own death. And then he decides, I'm going to do that. So every story starts with him sitting at his desk reciting this story to, I think, a camera. And so he tells a different story every night, and the stories themselves are interesting. There was a couple of them that were less so, but I like the majority. There's 10 stories per volume. But you do get glimpses into the boy's life as well at the beginning and end of every chapter. In his life, there seems to be something like sinister going on. Like, I think he might be being abused or neglected or something. Obviously, there is a reason he wants to tell 100 ghost stories that will lead to him dying. So there's obviously something going on in his life. I also have suspicions that maybe the thing he's telling the stories to is not a camera. What if it's some sort of entity? And you just like think it's a camera? I'm not sure. That's just kind of like a theory that I have. But yeah, that is the last thing I read in October. And that is the end of the reading log. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I will return for a haul probably towards the middle and half of the month, because obviously I've still got stuff to read from my previous haul, so I haven't ordered a new one yet. And then next month I will have another reading log, and then I'll do my top 10 favourite reads of the year, more towards the end of December obviously, because there's still a chance I could read something else that I find to be a favourite. And then I've also got my most anticipated new releases of next year video to do next month, which I think most of the announcements for the year are done now. I know Seven Seas is still doing Wonderful Wednesday, so I still want to wait into next month just to make sure that there's nothing else announced that I want to add to the video. But yeah, I think most of the like major big announcements for the year are out the way, because most of them are at cons, and like con season's kind of over now. So yeah, I've got those videos. I will obviously... there may be a haul in December too. It depends. Because it might not be to January, because it depends about Christmas shipping and all that. Or so whether it's late getting here. Anyway, that's the plans for videos for the rest of the year anyway. There should be another haul, possibly 2. Another reading log. And then those most anticipated next year and favourite of this year videos. So I will see you for this. I hope you enjoyed, and see you in another video. And so Rowan probably. Bye bye.